Hello, and welcome back for another edition of the N17 Effect here on a Hotspur Hood. No countdown intro this time. I love it. I love my own music that I created for it, but it's too long. So I'm shortening it before I bring it back. So just the intro today, if you're wondering what's happening here, usually sitting around for 4 minutes. Not the case. So yeah, we're coming at you live. We're coming at you. Spurs are coming at you top of the table. Not by goal difference this week. Not by simply goal difference this week. We are top. 24 points from 9 games. Something is happening. Something is happening on the Ange. It truly is now. We'll be looking at the game, the Fulham game, and much, much more. Big up to the panel. Big up to the people watching and big up to the panel. Danny, member of the Hotspur Hood now, and we got 2 members of the Tottenham away. We got Mari in his car. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Just finished a long day of work. Gotta head somewhere else, but I said, you know what? I want to jump on for a good 30 to 45 minutes. Also want to talk about this team, having a balanced view, how to balance being excited, but also be realistic, because we, as you can see in the second half, we still got a lot of work to do. And then also to kind of bring up a point that the streets are talking. The streets are talking. And you know what the streets are talking about, Tommy?
The streets in the US? Or
about the streets in actually the UK. Naysayers are now changing a tune about a certain guy named Romero. So I have a point about that, but I'll bring it up when we talk about Christian Romero.
Oh, I have a point about Christian Romero. Don't you worry. We're going to be talking about it pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Mari's here for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. We might have Daigle on later. We might have a couple more later. So it'd be sort of tag team situation. And Stel, you're with us pretty much every Tuesday. How you doing, my friend? You look happy. Were you at the game?
Yeah, I was at the game. I went to the game. Big up to you, Dan, Murray, everyone watching. Yeah, listen, for me, first half I thought, really good by Spurs. We should have scored more goals, but you could probably say that every game at the moment. We do lack more than 1 or 2 goal scorers. But yeah, I was happy with the first half. Second half, I wasn't happy, if I'm honest with you, Tommy. I wasn't happy with a few things, actually, but we'll get into it.
Ange said the same thing. I was a little bit shocked. But he did say the same thing in his post-match interview. Yeah. But, you know, you're saying the same thing as well, still. He was disappointed in the second half.
Yeah. Look, we'll get into it more, but for me, the way we played second half was poor. In terms of shutting down the ball, running off the ball, recovery runs, the work rate, no issue. On the ball, we were not fluid. Our passes were not done quickly enough, and the wrong decisions were made. Clowns like Richarlison and Emerson, you know, there was one moment where the ball's come on the wing and Richarlison's tried to control it with his back. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? And Emerson Royale's trying to do a flick or trick on the sidelines where if he just plays a pass in front of him, we've got a 3-on-2 counter-attack. So little things like that. But even just the speed at which we played, we just seemed very lethargic. I don't know if it was just a poor performance second half, or whether they're thinking about Friday and they're easing off because they've got a game, or whether it's just as soon as we take off, you know, 2 or 3 players, there's just a massive drop off. But that second half for me was the last 30 minutes, I'd say. The last 30, 35 minutes, I sat there, I was bored. I was really bored. I thought, this is like last season, just I'm not really excited. So, but that's just me. That's my view.
Right. Okay. So, let's get ready to rumble. Let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into the Fulham game. I'm going to chuck some ratings, stats up now from the game. These are from SofaScore /whoscored.com. They both use like hundreds of stats to come up with the ratings for the players. I just want to see if people agree with the ratings. We all watched it live, I'm sure, whether, you know, obviously Stel was at the ground, the rest of us on television. Dan, have a quick little browse, have a quick little look at these ratings.
No.
Did you agree? Did you agree with the ratings? Oh, let me put back up.
No, not from what you put in there.
That's Son man of the match, 8.9.
No chance. For me, Son didn't even have a good like great game as such. He had an all right game. Yes, he scored a banging goal, but there was about 4 different times, I think 3 or 4 different times when we had the ball forward and he wasn't there to be passed to because he was still sitting back. He was still further back, and we had to hold on, and then Fulham got their formation again. But he had an all right game, yeah, but no way was he man of the match. Another one, Vicario. I'd have put him as an 8 because of that bloody save he made. But I can get the point. He did make 2 tits up. One pass on there was dodgy, and that header he came out with, what was he doing? I don't know. I don't know. I think he just went a bit weird there. I think Adoje played good in the first half, and obviously had to get taken
6.5.
He was better than that. I think Van was better than a 7. Romero, I'd have given a 9 yesterday because he was literally perfect.
Exactly.
Richarlison, how he is at a 6.8. That's all I'll say. To put it polite,
He's got 0.3 higher than Adogi. Yeah.
You know what? I'll say Richarlison, WTF on that. That's just being polite because we're only 5 minutes in. For me, he was barely over a 5. Maddison, I'd give him a 7 because I didn't think that was his best game either. 2 special times, but I didn't think he was great. I didn't really think anyone was great except Romero. And I also think Højbjerg actually stood his ground pretty well for what he had to do. Vicario and Romero, I'd say, were the 2 best players on there. But the rest of them, I don't think it's quite as good as it's made out. Son was not man of the match for me. No chance.
Yeah, Sky Sports gave it to Maddison. You would have given it to Romero.
All day.
Mari, you mentioned Romero briefly. This is your time. This is your time to talk about Romero. We talk about stats a lot. We talked about stats a lot last week. The stats, they're giving him 7.4.
Yeah. No, I was surprised it was an 8.9 for Sonny. I would at least maybe an 8.
Nope.
Okay, right. Well, Mari couldn't believe Son got an 8.9 so much. He's disconnected.
I got
but he's back. No, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, I got a phone call. No, I was a little. That was a bit too high, but I was like, oh, okay. Maddison, I would have said, yeah. Like I said, it was a weird game first half. I think we waste our chances. Kulu drove me crazy. Romero hooked him up with a beautiful pass close to the end of the first half. And Kulu should have scored. Like, literally, Kulu should have scored.
He didn't even shoot, did he?
Yeah, he didn't even shoot. And you saw Ange's reaction, like, what are you doing? Like, his processing is so slow. Since the biggest change for Kulu has been his processing in the final third. It's atrocious. We're talking about Richarlison being atrocious. For Kulu, it's horrible. I'm like almost getting to the point I'm done with him. Regards to Kulu, like wasted chances of processing. Romero, I thought was great. If I have my say on Romero, is this right? Say the streets are talking because I'll use this one person, right? Like big channel, never foul, Kaz, who has been very, very harsh on Romero. On his show this morning, right? Just drive on the road. He says, hey, gotta be honest, but one of the best center backs this season.
Oh, there we are. No, you've muted, mate.
I don't think Murray's muted. I think he's just having signal problems, maybe. Yeah.
Well, with that one, quickly, I agree with what the fellas just said down here.
Murray, you're muted again. Can't hear you.
Porro massively underrated.
Log in and log out, Murray. Log in and log out.
It doesn't show that he's muted here, so he's probably just having signal issues. But yeah, I saw that. A few normal Stanley Fletcher, but why shot? We were pretty average. Better opponents would have punished us. I don't think we were average. I think he's one of our better performances this season. But then we have struggled against Sheffield United, Luton. I think we've struggled in a lot of the games we played.
One thing I'll say about this, though, and this is where a lot of fans take context out of it. when people say better opponents would have punished us, better finishing and decision making in the final third, we would have punished them against
We would
Luton.
have been 4-0 up.
Yeah, Luton and last night and Sheffield United. So I think, yeah, we are giving chances, but it's because the reason it feels so bad is because we're not taking our ones. We're not being clinical ourselves. So I think it's a bit of context there.
Murray, we want to know what happened on Never a Foul. What were they saying about Romero now?
No, Kaz was saying, to be fair, because it was talking about the partnership.
Is he the Man United fan? Is he the Man United guy?
Yeah, United fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying, and he goes harsh on Romero. He says this season, Romero has been the best center back this season, and for me, I was just like, wow. He admitted that, along with some other people who have said, this year, they're giving Romero his flowers, especially because Saliba was one of the main reasons why Arsenal dropped points just the other day against Chelsea. Just had to throw that in there. But what you are seeing of Romero right now, because he's now the highest rated, him and Anderson, I think he's above Anderson. I just saw he's above Anderson in regards to highly rated center backs according to SofaScore this season. What we're seeing is, I tell people, it's not World Cup Romero this season. What we're seeing this season, and will be good for our team and for our club going forward in this 9-game sample, and I'm using this 9-game sample, we're seeing the Copa America Romero, the one that was the main reason why Argentina won the Copa America. And if you watch those the 3 games that he played, he was fantastic, masterclass against Brazil. That same season, he won Defensive Player of the Year with Atalanta. If we can have that Romero this season, along with Van de Ven, who has been amazing, the streets are talking. I'm watching NBC Sports post game. They're talking about the partnership of Romero and Van de Ven. Never a foul. You're hearing people saying, "Wow, that partnership, the center back partnership, is one of the tops in the Premier League." And people are giving Romero his flowers. They're like, "Well, he's not being so rash, right?" We could go back to last year. He didn't like Conte, right? I will always be critical in the sense of, okay, his attitude sucked in regards to the team when we needed him last year. But he apologized, right? He openly apologized and said, "Hey, look, you know what? I'm going to come good." He was given vice captain. And this season, he is doing great. I know Will had the show in regards to, his last 365 days compared to Saliba and stuff like that. I don't want to go deep into that. But I think people sometimes they will think emotionally and go back to certain things like the Milan game and say, okay, that's every game. And it's not. And so I'm just happy now that it looks like we have our center back pairing. We still need more center backs in regards, because we have Eric Dyer waiting back in the wings. We can't have him play this season. So I hope that we are able to get another center back in the January window, to feel comfortable, along with bringing along Ashley Phillips.
Right. Stel, I'm going to put these ratings back up. I want to see what you have to say on some of these
ratings.
One thing,
Tom.
Murray rightly says, we mentioned it last week, that Anderson's top, and he still is top in terms of sofa ratings. I'm not that keen on stats. I've said it many times, but he is first, and then Romero second. Will Boley is actually third, which is a problem in itself at centre back. He's crap, but hey, but these look, but the same stats that make up those numbers are the same stats here. They're giving Udogie 6.5, Richarlison 6.8. What do you make of these stats?
Yeah, I don't agree. For me, if I just look at the ones here, top to bottom, Johnson 6.1, yeah, probably about right. Skip 6.5, about right. Royale, about right. Vicario, I would have given him slightly higher. He made 2 massive saves in that game. Massive.
That first save, man, was brilliant.
Outstanding.
Unbelievable save.
Yeah, I mean, I would have given him slightly higher. Porro, I would have given him less. I don't think Porro had a great game. In my
I
view.
thought he was all right yesterday. I don't think he was great, but I think he actually had an all right game.
Yeah, he wasn't crap, but there was William had him, man. William had him. I thought William
a couple of times he did, yeah.
I thought William had him. That's what it was for me, and I think Porro's better than what I saw yesterday. Romero getting a higher score than Van der Ven, I don't understand, because the amount of recovery runs Van der Ven made, his pace is insane for a guy of his size. And not only does he win the ball, take note, Richarlison, he stays on his feet, he pulls away, and then he transitions into an attack. He's a proper footballer. Van der Ven is a real deal, man. He's what a signing he is. I would have given him slightly higher than Romero. Udogie didn't look right the whole game. And I was saying it to the guys that go with me. Something's not right with Udogie, whether he's tired, carrying an injury, something's going on at home we don't know about. And he got pulled off, and I knew it because he didn't look right. Højbjerg actually had a half decent game. Sarr did all right. Kula would have given higher. I know he doesn't. My only gripe with him is like what Dan was saying earlier. He doesn't shoot, but Kulu was causing them problems, man. He whenever Kulu got on the ball, people getting pulled out of position, layoffs for crosses were coming in. I thought Kulu played better than that. I agree that Maddison was man of the match. I think the reason Son got a high score is his work rate off the ball, especially pressing, was really, really good yesterday. Off the ball, Son was probably the best player on the pitch. Not on the ball. On the ball, I thought Maddison was better. Richarlison,
I mean, like for the amount of chasing he done and that, like actually running at the keeper and stuff like that. Do you know what? I can see where you're coming from. I still don't think it was his best game, but I get your point totally.
But with Kulu, it seems like he does. It seems like Kulu does 2/3 of his work, and then the final third is like wasted. I get what you're saying.
He screws it.
He screws
Mari,
it.
I think what you signify perfectly is the end of the first half when Kulu had to shoot, didn't he? He had to shoot.
Yeah. Like he does that all the time. It's like he does the work, right? I give him credit, right? He take on a man. He's doing everything that you want. Yes. It's almost like a guy, right, is at the bar. He's talking to the girl. He's talking to her for an hour. He got her drinks, and then when comes time to get that number before or about to take her home, it's just like he bottles it. And for me, it's like his final third processing is Kulu. Drives me nuts. It's like, come on, bro. Like,
look,
I don't know
I
if
agree.
it's psychological or it's just processing is slow. His processing in the final third is frustrating. It was like yesterday I'm watching the game, but just like, I'm like, Lord, please put in Johnson or somebody in, like, because it's frustrating. I get that. It's weird because he did everything you want him to do, but it's at the end, it just doesn't happen. And then quickly with Sarr is doing good, but I'm hoping Bentancur comes in quicker because I'm telling you now, Bentancur will get, if Bentancur is back to himself after this injury, he's starting over Sarr because there's just like there was one sequence where I'm like, Sarr, if you just pass it right there to Sonny, it was just a bad pass. But he's young, he's learning. That's what, like, when Bentancur comes back, it's Bentancur, Maddison, and Basuma.
It's a fair criticism. It's a fair criticism, and I saw it in the Luton game. We really do struggle. I think the centre mids outside Bentancur are going to struggle to get goals, definitely, and assists. They were getting annoyed in the Luton game. Basuma was getting annoyed. That's why he got the 2 yellow cards. Sarr, he just hasn't got that through ball. He's a sideways passer, but Sarr's engine is incredible. It's like Kante. He's got the same engine I've seen in goal.
That's why he gets chosen, Tommy. That's why he gets
best engines. Yeah, of course. And it's very difficult to start to learn to put through balls through like a Maddison, let's say. But if Maddison isn't starting or Maddison isn't going, like against Luton, he didn't have his best game, Maddison. He came up when it mattered. Struggle to assist in the centre of midfield, and if hopefully, as Morris said, Bentancur comes back in there because he has got a pass on him. Bentancur slightly deeper, but he can create better than the other three. I mean, you put Skip and Højbjerg in there as well, centre mid. Bentancur is the best creator out of those 5, I would say. I think the scores are ridiculous, quite frankly. I think Romero's man of the match by far.
Yeah.
I think Romero's man of the match. I think that's
Tom.
closest. I think that's the closest you can get to a 10 out of 10 performance for a centre back for me. Son, best rating 8.9. I agree. What Stel says is probably bang on. It's the off the ball work why he got such a high rating. But whenever I looked at the scores last season as well, when Son was hopeless, his ratings are so high. Every game his ratings high.
Because last season, Tommy,
very worst performances.
When the teams attacked us, we went into a formation of 4-4-2. 5-4-1 or two banks of four. And Son's role was to recover deep and defend. And he kept doing it. Like, he actually did his job, but he's not good at it. It's not his role. Conte made him do something.
I thought Udogie done well as well. I thought Udogie done well as well. And I look at it and I just think
he struggled yesterday.
I think the first half he played well.
He did all right. But he struggled.
From what I saw, I think Romero was miles better than Van der Ven. I think Van der Ven still got a few positional problems.
Really? Van der Ven.
He's got positional problems. That's why he keeps using his pace. He's got positional problems.
Romero at that last sequence when Fulham almost scored with those last 15 minutes, Romero made that one blockage. Like he steered the guy.
He covered for Van der Ven a lot in the game. He covered for Van der Ven a lot, and that's not a problem. Van der Ven's a ball playing modern centre back who's we saw him press. He pressed for the opening goal. He got the ball, he passed it out, and we got the goal. So he's a modern centre back, but there are errors in Van der Ven's positioning, and that's why Romero played so great as well.
That's what I was going to say. The only 2 points in the defence. The only thing Romero did wrong yesterday is when me and Alan spoke about it. I agreed with him. Is he slowed the game a little bit down when he got forward and had the chance to put the ball through a couple of times. He actually slowed it down a bit as well. That is the only way I can fault him yesterday. Van der Ven is he's good and he's going to get better. But the thing that lets me down for him, I agree exactly with what Stel said, as in he's fast and he covers it and that. But he has to be fast because he gets himself in those bloody positions where he keeps getting that same ball put over his head every time. It happened nearly 5 times at Liverpool, and he's lucky that Salah lost some pace, and he's got the pace because he recovered it. But there's certain situations he shouldn't have to recover because he shouldn't get himself in those situations. I feel he does get himself in the wrong position a couple of times. But I'm not saying he's not good. He's very good, and he will get better. But I think Romero was better overall yesterday. He did cover Van der Ven a couple of times.
Yeah, quite a few. I think it was everything. I think it was his presence on and off the ball, Romero. Even when he slowed it up, he played that ball to Kulu, didn't he, at the end of the first half, which he should have scored. He passed it instead. He should have scored. Good pass. So I think on all fronts, Romero was top quality. He was top quality. But on Kulu, Kulu was 50-50 because he's coming inside. Everyone knows he's coming inside, but he was still getting past people inside. So I think 6.6 was very, very harsh. But there were a couple of times where he just gave the ball away 2 times when we were in the last third. He gave the ball away silly and we could have scored. But he did make a lot of things happen on that side as well.
Kulu's a frustrating player. Kulu is frustrating because I totally agree with what, what's it? I can't even see your name on it. Sorry, mate.
Murray.
With proper glasses. Murray, that's it. I ain't got proper glasses on. I totally agree with what Murray said. He seems to get it all right, and then when it comes to that last bit, he, like the fella said on the toolkit, he is wasteful. And there was about 4 times on there where he got the ball, and I nudged my wife and said, "Watch, he's going to nudge it to the left now. 1, 2, 3, 4." Every bloody time he nudged it to the left to do it. He is frustrating because for the first 6 months, he was so much better than that. And now it seems like he's just stuck in a certain gear up front where he can't get out of a routine or something. I don't know. But he just keeps pulling off the same move every time.
Yeah.
I do think he is wasteful when it comes to the final third. So I definitely agree with Murray with 100%. He is. He's quite frustrating.
Yeah, he's definitely. He showed yesterday he was wasteful at times. For sure.
He comes back well. I'll give him that. He does come back and cover the right back well when he needs to. And he does hold on to the ball very, very well. I mean, he's not a small lad, is he? I mean, he's quite a big fella. And it does take sometimes two of them to get him off the ball. But again, when it comes to, I mean, he should have banged that in the back of the net, or at least took a shot, that one that got past to him.
Oh,
and it's like he froze for a second and then tried passing it.
Everything was slow. The pass was too slow, and the decision to make the pass was too slow. He should have just put his foot through it straight away.
100%.
But yeah, he needs to get more goals. It's as simple as that. He does have to get more goals. The way he does things. Now, at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, I've seen it so often this season with Ange. He subbed Son off and he subbed Maddison off together. Why do you think that is, Stel? Why does this keep happening? Son and Maddison off together, and does it bother you?
I think he did it because we've got a game on Friday, and also I don't think Son is 100%. Maddison, I don't know. Maybe because he played for England.
But have you noticed he keeps together? He keeps subbing them off together. It was the sixth time.
You know what? I'll tell you what, Tommy. I'll tell you what. I don't mind it. I don't mind it in these games. I was bothered against Arsenal because I think if they stayed on, we would have beaten Arsenal. But I wasn't bothered yesterday because we were 2-0 up, and we don't know what these players like Johnson, Lo Celso, Brian Hills, Veliz, we don't know, Emerson Royales, we don't know what they're going to be like under Ange in this system unless they get game time. So when does he give them game time? When do you give them game time? Because we're not in the Carabao Cup, we're not in Europe.
Yep.
You're 2-0 up against Fulham at home. You're going to have to take some kind of risk, aren't you? So I don't mind it. If this was against Chelsea and we're 1-0 up, I'd be pissed because one goal and we're fucked. So, you know, the only annoying thing with it is you bring on Lo Celso, but the two players that you want him to link up with, Son and Maddison, aren't on the pitch. You bring on Veliz, well, who's going to feed him the ball? So that's the only downside of it.
And as you said,
I agree with you.
Fell apart, and you've got to say it was probably in tandem with those subs, with the subs that we made. The depth isn't there.
I mean, look, at one stage we had Chicken Royale on the pitch, we had Skip on the pitch, we had Richarlison on the pitch, and it got scary. For me, again, I'll say it. My saying for him, Richarlison, the way he played yesterday, the way that fella plays, cut his head off, unscrew it, whatever way you want to put it, and put him on the pitch, and he really would look like a headless chicken running about. It'd be a spitting image of it because he runs around the pitch like an headless chicken. And like yesterday, like Stel said, he spent more time on his arse than anything. For me,
it's shocking, man. It's shocking.
I can't see how anybody has got any love for the fella or any. I mean, I don't know. What am I going to get called next? Like Richie phobic or something? I don't know. I just
his goal contributions are better. Stats are better.
I couldn't give a
3 assists,
mate. He's awful.
To Jesus, he's got 3 more assists, same amount of goals.
They're both.
What's Jesus done in the Premier League this season? What's he done?
He's wasteful.
You're comparing him to a player that's done nothing. Compare Richie to someone who's actually decent.
Yeah, he's been wasteful. It's sad, but man, when it always used to be automatic. If you're Brazilian, you're going to be clinical. You're going to you got Emerson Roy,
clinical,
Gabriel Jesus. Now you got Richarlison. Like is this the best that Brazil has? Does Real Madrid only have the best Brazilians? Because I mean, this is bad. It really is. I saw that chart that you put up, and I'm like, man, Gabriel Jesus and the Arsenal has been. They have no fluidity in regards to their offense, and so you see a perfect example right there. As bad as Richarlison is, Gabriel Jesus is bad too.
He's played in the wrong position though.
I don't think Jesus
is not a striker.
Jesus hasn't been that bad. He just hasn't.
But he's not a striker.
He's not a striker. That's the difference. This is when we start using stats. We look at stats and we say, well, he must have been terrible because he hasn't got 3 assists. He hasn't.
Well,
Jesus has been pretty good.
Not a striker.
But we don't play Richarlison as a striker. We play him on the left.
Well, so they do that.
That's
with
where
Jesus.
he's meant to be, though. I don't think
left
Richarlison's a striker either.
Yeah, but Jesus had a good game tonight for Arsenal in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, do you remember that shot Jesus smashed over the bar against us? He's not having a good season.
But he's still
Yeah,
his pressing is very good. Like Son, he's a very, very good presser off the ball. He offers
but Tommy, hold on 1 minute. You never showed us pressing stats. You showed us assists and goals.
It was a quick look to it, and it's
but if you're going to use that, then let's talk about
more assists than Richarlison.
Yeah, but if that's the image you're going to show, then talk about Jesus and Richarlison on those image on what you showed us. And when you look at goals and assists for Jesus this season, he's not done anything in the Premier League
because he hasn't got goals or assists, but he still offers the team a lot. And I think the argument is
you're comparing him to him.
He offers the team more than Richarlison. He offers the team more than Richarlison.
Does he? Does he? What's he offered Arsenal this season? What's Jesus offered Arsenal this season in the league?
Well, he's been
nine. He's
not been really. I mean,
where was he against Chelsea?
Tonight, for example,
where was he against Chelsea away? Where was he against Fulham?
Against us, he was nothing.
Where was he against Fulham? Where was he against?
He was good against us, but he couldn't finish. He's got the same problem as Richarlison.
That's not good, is it? That's not good.
But he's still better than Richarlison. He's still a better player than Richarlison.
This season, look. In general, we'd all take Jesus over Richarlison. I get your argument, but my point is,
I'll take Mickey Mouse.
You're comparing Richie this year to Jesus. Jesus hasn't been good this year. That's my point. Compare Richie to what are you trying to compare him to? An attacking wide player?
I'm not trying to compare at all. I just saw this picture earlier.
Compare him to Saka.
I saw this picture on Twitter earlier, and I thought, you know what? People are digging Richie out, but he's got 3 assists and a goal. I think he's been terrible. I think he's been terrible. I think he's missed loads.
Compare him to a football player.
It's like comparing.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like
you say the word clinical for Brazil. Even their defense used to be clinical. Richarlison, he's about as clinical as a haircut for a person that's losing their hair, sort of thing. You know, Richarlison. He's fucking useless, mate. He seriously. He don't even know what the word clinical means. You can't even rate him to a football player after.
Do you know what? There was one goal. There was a moment yesterday, right, where Fulham had pushed up. We were stuck in the right-hand corner, and everyone was shouting, "Clear it, clear it!" I'm like, "No, play it out the back because we know we can do it. Don't panic." And they worked it. 1 touch, 2 touch, and we got out of it. It was brilliant to watch. And then we got the overload, and then we went down the wing. You're thinking, brilliant. And then the ball gets to the byline. They pull it back. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be a sensational goal when you go back and watch how this started. And Richarlison, he misses the target. He pulls it wide. And you're like, fuck me. That would have been one of the best team goals of the season. And Richarlison does that. He doesn't suit the way we play, man. Do you know what Richarlison is? Do you know what Richarlison is? He's one of those bottom 10 teams where you want to have a scrap, you want to set piece it, you want to
Everton and Watford, his 2 previous teams, basically.
Yeah, Tommy. Yeah. This
exactly
kind of football, Man City football, Arsenal football, Tottenham, Liverpool, this style of football, it doesn't work, man. This guy's a hindrance.
But the argument is 40 games for Brazil. The argument is 40 games for Brazil. Did he 40 games for Brazil? That's another big argument.
Brazil finished. Brazil
done. They booed him. Well, he had that psychological. He had to go see a therapist. Not this last international, but the one previous, because the fans, they booed him off the field. The Brazilian fans, they're turning on him. They booed him off the field. So it's not only at Tottenham. He's not producing for Brazil.
Yeah, to be fair, Thiago was on Sunday and he hates him as well. So that's the only Brazilian fan I know.
Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe Richarlison should do something Royale did and pay $1 million to, I don't know, do some training or something.
It ain't fucking worked for Emerson. It definitely hasn't worked for Emerson. The fact that anybody, I can't remember who you said it, Dan, but we said it backstage. Somebody was sticking up for Emerson last night and said he had a pretty good game. It's fucking joke.
Not at all. Absolute I mean, joke. Look at the 2 shots he had, for God's sake. One of them, all right, I get he tried to put it in the bottom right. But he had a whole bloody goal there to shoot at, and he still misses it. And then the other shot that comes in that he got from the angle, all right, got to take a chance on it and that. But was he playing rugby or something, or American football? He put it about 20 foot over the bloody bar.
It was so that was That was shocking. That
Dan,
truly was.
Dan, do you know what was the worst thing about both those chances? And it's just, and it sums it up why he's a shit player. And I'll say it. People get upset. Then football's not for you. People get upset. Yeah, no. What was so damning about those shots were both of them were unchallenged. There wasn't a tackle coming in on him. There wasn't pressure on him. Just compose, technique, hit the target. And like you said, one nearly hit the cockerel in the south stand.
It did. It went about 20 foot over.
The other one nearly broke the side hoarding. You know,
when he had a whole clear goal to shoot at. Mate, look, let's just get out of the talk about him because we're going about him all night. We always do. But if
the stats show you had a better game than Saar, you had a better game than Kulusevski. Sorry. You got to live by the stats. You live by the stats. You've got to live by the stats.
Do you know what it is? The reason those stats are high is because he puts the work in, right? But two things I'll give him credit for. One, he works. He does work. I'll give him
that's a minimum expectation of a footballer, though, isn't it? Really.
And the other thing is he's good in the air. So last night there was a couple of balls that got played into our box from corners and set pieces, and he got the end of them and cleared them. So in terms of his defensive role, he did well. But when you pay £65 million for assists and goals and creativity, and your strength is to work hard and clear headers.
Basically, we have paid round about 12.5 million for every goal he scored.
Fucking hell.
To be fair, he did score goals at Everton, but that was Everton.
Yeah, I don't care what he done at bloody Everton. Yeah, he's at Spurs, and we paid.
But I'm saying, why would you spend 65 million pounds? So you say, okay, he scored 13 for Everton. Maybe he'll come with a better creation, better assists behind him, and he'll score more. And he was first team for Brazil as well. So I think that's where the 50-60 million pound comes in.
Yeah, but we've literally paid round about 12.5, maybe even 15 million round about 15 million for every goal he scored. And that's not even including the man's wages. So you could probably put that up to about 17 million for every goal he scored.
But Dan, what happens next week? Well, Palace on Friday. What happens? Do we start? I mean, who have we got? What do we put in place?
Well,
if we don't start him, who do we put in place?
I'd stick Johnson there, or Brian Gill would be the one I want to give a go.
He's not even getting him on the bench. He's not even getting him off the bench, Gill. He's not even.
No, I know, but again, it's like I've said, the player is that awful that I don't really care who you put there. I just don't think anyone's going to be any worse. I'll give it. He does try, but so does Emerson Royale, and he's useless. He's a liability. I don't. Anyone who can look at me and tell me that player is good.
Right, Murray, got to go. You're in your car, obviously. I'm very thankful that you've even given us 40 minutes. To be fair, finally, who do you think? Just give me the final take before you go. Who do you think comes in for Richarlison on Friday? Who'd you bring in for Richarlison?
See, that's the problem. And I don't even want to talk about Levy the board because it's just like, we'll have to see more of Johnson because we barely seen him and he was hurt. So I'm going to go with Johnson because Solomon is hurt. Brian Hill, by default, unless you're moving Son to the back on the left and you put Veliz in the center, honestly,
and that's still a huge risk, isn't it? Let's face it. Veliz looks okay, but it's still a huge risk.
Yeah, by default, it's Johnson. By default,
right, Murray, are you streaming tomorrow on Tottenham away?
Yep, I'm streaming tomorrow. The Spurs Lounge. We'll talk about Ange doing a historic 23 points. But there's a lot to analyze. Is it all rosy or is it just, good and bad? And so it's really a balanced analysis look on Big Ange getting 23 points and see where we go from there.
Right, big up, Mari. So Tottenham away tomorrow night. Make sure you get on there and give it a watch. Right. Yeah. So I've asked Stel, I've asked Mari. Everyone's a little bit in doubt of who we can put in there. Dan,
Gil or Johnson?
Oh right, you
Gil or
already said
Johnson?
you already said Gil or
Yeah.
Johnson. I saw you shaking your
think
head.
Gil-
I saw you shaking your head when Mari said Veliz up top and then put Son back on the left.
No, because Son's done on the left for me, and I said this at the start of the season to everyone. I personally think on the left, Son is finished, and I told everybody stick him as the striker, and people told me no, he plays on the left. Lo and behold, we stick him as striker. He's got 7 goals because he can finish with both feet. He's a good little poacher. He's our striker, and I don't think he's a make-do striker. I think he is an out-and-out striker now, but his crossing leaves a lot to be desired in that. I think Gil could actually work with this style of play with Ange. He's quick on the ball. He's good at dribbling. And from what I have seen of him, he's got a good pass on him. Not a good cross, but you're going to get more out of him than you will with Richarlison, as far as I'm concerned. Or we stick to putting Johnson there.
So, Stel, you're not a big Richarlison fan yourself, by the sounds of it. Why are we not playing Gil? Why is Gil not getting any game time on that left-hand side?
He's been injured, isn't he? He's come back from injury.
I mean, even at the end of 2-0 up against Fulham, you should 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
I thought they would have, actually.
Is it a fair criticism of Ange? Keep starting Richarlison?
Thing is, we don't know what goes on in training, so yeah, no, it's not criticism because we've had no one else there. Perisic was the star; he got injured. Then when Perisic got injured, he used Solomon. Solomon got injured. The only reason Richie's been there is because everyone else is injured. The only reason Richarlison plays for Spurs at the moment in a starting team is because everyone that plays in that role is injured. It's that simple.
Do you think Solomon would have taken over from him? He started one game in front of him. Do you think he would have taken over from him?
Yeah, well, he did. The game the last game. The last game. What was the last game he got injured? Was it before Luton?
He didn't start the game he got injured. He got but he did start this game before.
I
so
think
he was
got
getting
injured
in front
in
of Richarlison from time to time.
Yeah. So my point is, once Perisic got injured, Solomon was the player starting.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big loss. That's a big loss. The thing with Brennan Johnson is, I'm just looking at the scores, and yet Arsenal look like they're going to win 2-1. Man United scrape 1-0 at home to Copenhagen. Maguire scores. I'll tell you what, when I was looking at the stats, I saw top 7. Bruno Fernandes was the 7th highest rating in the Premier League. Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I don't know about that. But
for me, he's had one solid season. He's been all right in a couple of seasons, but he's only had one solid season. But
Fernandes,
we all see it different.
Yeah, I don't see how he's top 10 in the league, to be honest with you.
I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I haven't watched enough of Man United to know. Watching highlights and watching a game is two different things. Like with Spurs, I can talk about it
Very true.
the whole game, but otherwise, unless it's a big game like Chelsea, Arsenal, or Man United, Man City, you're just watching highlights, aren't you?
Yeah, most of the time.
I've seen Man United fans themselves. I've been on channels, neutral channels. They're lamenting him, saying he's fucking useless, and that's their own fans who do watch the games 90 minutes.
I think the thing is with Fernandes, he's a little bitch as well, isn't he? Basically, he's a proper little bitch on the pitch. He
is in the referee's ears, in the referee's eyes. Yeah.
To be fair, this is what I said about Richarlison. I was like, I don't think he's the best signing, but he's one of those players that you hate playing against him. When he was at Everton, you hate him being on the opposition side because he just gets in your face and that. I'll be like, but he's got him. We've got him on our side now, so it'd be better. Obviously not.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest praises I could have given for the signing. He's in your face, but if you're not good enough, doesn't matter how much you're in people's face. And the fact of the matter is, I think Stell's hit the nail on the head. Perisic is not available. Solomon's not available. And I think we have to stick with him. I don't think any manager fancies Gil. I don't think Gil's made for the Premier League. He might do better in the Ange system. I just think he's like 9 stone wet through. I think he'll be all right. He'll be all right in Spain. I just can't see it. And Ange can't see it. I think Ange can't see it.
Will Stewart did a proper full-blown statistical analysis on Bryan Hill, like proper in-depth, right? He slammed Bryan Hill. Slammed him. He doesn't rate him at all. Like me, I'm prepared to give him a chance under Ange to see if there's anything there. But he's never been good at any club. He's never had a brilliant season anywhere.
Well, we only had one season at, was it Eibar? He had a season. He was on loan from Sevilla. He went on. He was on loan from Sevilla to Eibar, and he had about 3 assists at Eibar, and then we spent £35 million on him. Great recruitment. Great recruitment there. Crying out for a centre back for 4 years, and we buy Brian Gill for 35 million because he done all right at Eibar. It's fucking insane. But that's where we are. That's where we are. It's all changed apparently this summer. We'll
and we need a striker to replace Harry Kane, and we go and get Richarlison.
But I just wanted to briefly give my take on the whole Maddison and Son coming off together. It is the 6th time they've come off together. And look, at the end of the day, it's difficult to criticise Ange, the Richarlison starting and the constant substitutions of those 2 players because we're unbeaten. But you can see when they both come off, it's not just their quality, but we've got this our captain and our vice captain coming off. You're losing leadership on the pitch as well. I think it's clear. You saw it in the second half against Fulham. The biggest problem I had with Ange was the 9 subs against Fulham. That was a big criticism that he got, and I think rightly so. And this is a bit of a criticism. Against Arsenal, on a hat-trick, he takes Son off and Maddison together. That pissed me off. I have to say, that pissed me off. With Palace coming up, I agree. You need to rest the legs slightly, and we're 2-0 up, so it's different. But it just seems to be 6th time we've subbed them off together. It seems to be a running theme. Maybe there is some sort of plan. Maybe there is some sort of plan behind it. But I do feel sorry for Veliz as well because he doesn't have the creation then. When he comes on, how's he going to score? But hey-ho. But he looks like he can hold the ball up, Veliz. Maybe that's his job, Veliz, this season.
He's a target man, isn't he, really?
Holds the ball up. That. So that could be a Llorente job, isn't it?
Every time Son and Maddison come off, you literally see the team, bang, just
Maddison.
3 levels.
Where's the creation coming from without Maddison? I just don't see it.
I think Kulusevski would be our best option now. Because then he's got more space to pass with his left foot, basically.
But we've just slammed him. So without Maddison...
But I've said to a lot of people who seem to start picking it up now when they choose to, and they know who I'm on about, that he played attacking midfield quite a few times for Juventus when they went and bought Chiesa. And he actually done all right when he played AMC. I think he would be better there overall as a player than he does on the right. But again... personal opinion, because he has got a bit of creativity to him. It's just when he's on the right, he just looks lack of option because he can only step to the left. But if he's in the middle, you got more option with passing, haven't you? You got more space to pass. I think Kulusevski would be an all right cover there, but there's no chance I'll be picking him over Maddison.
Did we even take Richarlison off against?
In the end, I think we did in the end, didn't we?
Richie, he came off,
yeah. Oh, yeah, he did come off, didn't he? He came. Johnson, of course. Johnson came on. I mean, Johnson's option. He's never played on the left because he played on the right for Nottingham Forest.
He did nothing when he came on, Johnson.
Plays
in fact, all the subs that came on, Skip, Johnson, Chicken Royale, Veliz, I think there was one other, they all did nothing. Nothing, not one.
I mean, the only thing you can say about Royale is he made 2 or 3 blocks on goal, which he got himself into that situation that he had.
It's been the way since he started his career. I've been told he's a great defender time and time again, but he gets himself in those terrible positions to make those slide challenges, to make those blocks. This is why tackling, how many tackles you make a game means fucking nothing. If you're out of position, you have to make the tackle.
Copenhagen have got a penalty in the 96th minute.
Have they? Oh, my.
Oh, no way.
Well, let's hope they score it, because it would be funny for Man U to take that.
They lost to Gala, didn't they? They lost to Galatasaray, and Sanchez got 2 assists.
Mate, Man United fans are in fucking meltdown this season. Please.
This is why I want to thank people. We've got 35 people watching. I'm not sure how many likes we've got. I guarantee. I'd assume that quite a lot.
18. You've got 18 likes. 19 now. I've done it as well. I've given you 20. You've got 2 more
in the Champions League right now, which is about to finish. Hopefully, Sevilla bang one. Or is that finished 2-1?
Sevilla nearly scored, but the goalie punched it over the bar.
Oh, sweet.
No, they've won.
That's 2-1 to
1-2-1.
So,
Seville
yeah,
won.
we're on 18 likes. So please smash that like if you haven't already done so. It's free. It makes a huge difference to keep the channel rolling. If you want more content from the channel, got to keep hitting those likes. Right.
Oh, yeah. He saved it.
No. Onana.
Punana, man. Punana.
He is big, but he has got massive arms. He's like Gomez.
Yeah, this is saved.
No.
Oh, well.
Man United
win some, you lose them.
They're
Yeah,
out
but
of
they
the
have been
Champions League
shocking
anyway. It
this
doesn't
year.
matter. They're out of the Champions League.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
can't
have
see
been
them
shocking
through the
this
Champions
year.
League, man.
I mean, against us, bar those couple of chances they had where really they should have been 2-0 up, which basically says it all for them. They have been shocking this year. And people were saying that they was going to go for a title challenge and everything. Like people were saying, we're going for a title challenge.
Well, that brings me to my next point. That brings me perfectly to my next point. 24 points after 9 games. Would you be pissed off if we don't make top four? And I say this because obviously us making top 4 is dependent on the teams around us, like the Man Uniteds,
top 5,
like the Chelsea's, like the Newcastles.
Tommy,
So at this point,
it's 23 points, not 24.
Is it 23? Oh,
yeah.
Is it? Oh, 1 point difference. Okay, 23 points after 9 games.
That's proper Levy. That's proper Levy tactics. Just squeeze some blood out of a stone.
I don't think anyone's accused me of siding with
Levy. It's top 5. It's top 5 as well this year, isn't it? If we get 5th place, we get in the Champions League.
I think most people's expectation and decision on whether a team's good enough is top 4. Are you in the top 4?
It's not top 5, guys. It's not. Let me explain to you how it works. It's done on coefficient. So, for example, 5th place. Don't think of it as top 5. Think of it as a 5th spot. So, the top 4 get Champions League, and then from 5th to 20th, whoever's got the highest Champions League coefficient will get the spot. That's my understanding.
So we need top 5.
You will get it in England. You will get it in England because it's the 5th in all the leagues. It's the 5th position in all the leagues, in the top 5 leagues.
No, but the way this one works, Tom, is
it goes by the coefficient of the league, the league ranking in Europe.
No, this one, as far as I know, goes by how that team has done in the Champions League in the past 5 years. Technically, if it's right the way Stelia says it is, we have more right to be in that Champions League in a 5th spot than Arsenal do. Because in the last 10 years, they've only been in the Champions League, twice?
From my understanding, from when I was talking to neutrals and when I do my homework, it's almost certain that the 3 top leagues, the fifth team will get in 100%. In Italy, England, and Spain at least. Might not be right, but that's my understanding because it's 36 teams next season. I think it's a 36-team Champions League. It's one huge table. It's one huge table. Bigger. Then you randomly play 10 games, I think. It's by random. And then there's playoffs. It gets very, very confusing. But it's a 36 league, basically. 36
Either way, if we get 5th place this year, we will get in the Champions League, as far as I know.
I'm 99% certain whatever British team gets in the top 5 will get into the Champions League.
But with what you're saying, I would have said at the start of the season, 7th at best. But the way it's gone now, you obviously change your opinion from what you see. And I would say we are definitely top 4, top 5. We are Champions League contenders without a doubt. And if we don't get it there, I personally think the reason would be down to injuries and down to transfers in January. We should definitely be in there for the top 4 fight. But all this talk about title contenders and everything, go for it.
I've got the rule. UEFA says a team finishing outside of their own domestic European qualification places cannot be moved into the extra Champions League place. The only realistic instance that there's 5 Premier League teams in the Champions League next season will be at least if one of the Premier League teams wins a European trophy this season. So if an English club doesn't win either the Europa, Champions League or Conference League, then we don't get the 5th space. No, the team that comes 5th doesn't get to go in. Huh?
So what was that all about then? Because I'd heard on quite a few things in that 5th place would get you in the Champions League
but
this year.
But it depends on the other teams. What depends what the other teams do in Europe because there's 36 places up for grabs.
So there's more places up for grabs.
I think maybe we'll go to a playoff. Maybe there'll be a playoff structure for 5th or something like that. But
who knows?
We know top 4 will get you in. We know top 4 gets you in. So we know top 4.
All right, here we go. I got it. So so last year, if the rules were applied, Liverpool would have got the Champions League because Man City won the Champions League and West Ham won the Conference League. in the event of 3 different nations providing a winner for each competition. So let's say Madrid win the Champions League, an Italian team wins the Europa Cup, and an English side wins the Conference League. Then the 2 nations with the highest UEFA coefficient get the place.
Right, I get it now. Yeah.
Basically, we haven't got a clue even when the season ends.
It's built on rankings, and I think whenever you look at rankings,
we ain't got a clue.
I'm pretty confident that's what happens. And by the way, it's the case on Football Manager as well. Just in case you need some definitives, it's definitely the case.
Just get top 4. Just get top 4, and
exactly. I mean, that was my point.
Either way, we should. I think we're more than good enough to get top 4, as long as we make the right transfers in January. And
but forget all that. Forget all that. 9 games, 23 points. Would you be pissed off now? Be honest. Would you be angry?
No, of course not. I'd be over. If you'd have told me that at the start of the season, I'd have laughed at you. And I think pretty much 9. Well, I say 9 out of 10. There's always that one who says this is our year, isn't it? But I would have thought a majority would have laughed at it as well. So I use my saying on that. So far, so good. You can't fault it, really. Yes, we've had some luck. Yes, we've made some of our own luck. And we've been very good at times. Also sceptical at times. But we are at the top. But we are no title contenders. Not yet. Take me into the last 8 games, let's say. And that's pushing it. I'd usually say last 6. But last 8 games and we're within, say, 6 points. Then you can say we're up for title contenders, even though, as far as I'm concerned, we still ain't got it, because City don't usually even come into talk. They don't even start playing properly until about March.
I want to say, hand on heart, still. Where do you sit? Where do you sit on this? Honestly, looking at the way we're playing, look at how many points we've got on the board. You know, you're a season ticket holder. You're there. You're hearing the chants. You're hearing the joy of the fan base with this new style of football. Would you be disappointed if we don't get that top 4?
100%. 100% if we don't get top 4 from there. To have the greatest start in our club's history in the Premier League, for the manager to have the greatest start any new manager's had in the history of the Premier League.
That's the key word, isn't it? Still start.
Yeah, but Tommy, that's my point. To get the best possible start to something and not get something half decent out of it at the end is a shambles. What happens if we have a crap start then? We're fucked. So top 4, yeah. I do. Listen, for me, we just need to get to January without major injury problems, right? If we can get to January and we're in the mix, then it really is over to you, Levy, which we're not confident about. But I'll be honest with you, if they show ambition for once in their lives and they think, you know what, we've actually got an outside chance of winning a title. It's still a long shot, but we've got a chance. And they go and buy Ivan Toney, tap Sober as another centre-back, and some kind of wide attacking player. I will say, do you know what? We are in a title race. With 1 game a week, and we've bought those 3 players, we are in a title race.
And still, we've got to see where we are in January, because we've got 10 games till January. We've got a heavy Christmas period.
But that's what I just said to you. I said, if we get to January unscathed, so we've gone through another 9 games like we have now, maybe lose a couple as well. That's fine. You can take a few losses. If we're in that, because the thing is, if we're not in that position, they're not going to show ambition, because it's like, what's the point? Like, you're not going to win anything. But if we are in that position and they don't show ambition, you know that saying, strike whilst the iron's hot. If the iron is hot and we don't strike, I'm going fucking nuts.
You are still, but who is going to join you? We need to be.
I don't care.
To be like this.
I don't care.
To be like this, but I've seen it.
They can punch me in the high street. They can throw bricks at me, whatever they want.
Hot, Stel. We were hot in 15, 16, 16, 17. Then we went 500 days without fucking signing.
Yeah, but then I'll get toxic online and say you haven't learned your lesson. You haven't learned your lesson. This happened.
You know what I wish?
This happened to.
I wish more than anything in this fan base. I wish we were as proactive at protesting the bad times as we are at making new songs for new players and managers. If we were as proactive at protesting as we are making new songs and singing new songs, we'd have won the league by now. We'd have another.
Yeah, but you see, the excuse was, but it's Conte, it's Mourinho, they're dinosaurs, they're washed out, they're terrible managers. Fine, okay, your excuse is gone. We've got Ange now. Everyone thinks they're right because we've got Ange. Okay, cool. We'll go with it. If then with Ange, they don't back this guy who is playing good football, who has got us in the conversation of winning something, then what is the point? What are we here
He's
for? Just
not even going
football?
to ask for hundreds of millions, is he?
No, the point
We
is
don't
this.
need mega money. We need another Van der Ven type player, another Udogie type player, another, I don't know, like a Trossard. They bought Trossard Arsenal for what, 25 million? Get someone like that.
Yep.
If you was a betting man, still, if you was a betting man, we're second.
Yeah.
Let's say we're second in the league. We're I don't know, we're 2 or 3 points behind the leaders, maybe 4 points clearing the top 4, and we didn't sign. We didn't go big. Would you be surprised? I mean, would you be surprised?
No. No, I wouldn't be
if you was a
surprised
betting man,
it's
if you was a betting man, would you bet on Levy to sign those players?
No
if
chance.
we were there,
no chance. I'm more than happy to be thrown mud in my face, to be made to look stupid on this as well. I'll gladly be wrong on this because I was told the stadium had to be built. We had COVID. This question, that question, this excuse, right? All the excuses are over. You've got the stadium. There isn't COVID. We've got the money. We've got 100 million from Kane still sitting there. We've got good football. We've got a manager playing the Tottenham way. We're top of the league. There is no excuse in the world left for him not to be ambitious in January. None.
110%.
Zero. If he doesn't do it, I will literally go into personal rows and all sorts of toxicity with the entire fan base. One by one, I'll pick them off. I'll dedicate
I'll join you.
I'll put it in my diary.
I'll put it in my diary.
I'll dedicate time to it because these excuses that I've been hit with for 5 years, they're now gone. They're gone.
It's true.
It's
no different.
The excuse will be we're doing all right. We're doing great with the team we have. Why
we don't want all right. We want ambition. I was told all of this was to build up, to be ambitious and compete. Right. Well, we're here now. We've arrived. Deal with it.
Let's do it. Even if we make the signings.
But I'm saying this is the excuse that Levy will give. We're second. We're doing okay without this investment. Let's carry on.
No, I don't. I honestly, I think Ange's going to get backed on this one because I've said it a few times now. Reason being is because he's not going to be asking for 100 million players. Where he's more of what people I would say call a Brighton manager sort of thing. Because we got to say, in his career, this is the first big club. People can tell me all they want Celtic are a big club. Yes, they are in a bloody Farmers League. It don't even count. Yeah, most of them lot wouldn't even survive in League One, for God's sake. This is the first big club he's been at, or supposed big club, and 70 million for him would probably cover 3 players because he's not going to be looking at players that are costing 100 million or 70 million a piece and whatever. He probably knows his smaller players as such, cheaper players that have got a lot of potential to come up and be good players because he's always had to be that type of manager, i.e. like a Brighton manager. And for me, that's right up Levy's street. I don't care if the players cost 15 million, 100 million, 50 million, whatever. As long as they are the ones Ange wants and he gets backed, fine. As long as we're seeing putting ambition into it, even if we end up finishing third because Liverpool and City just go on a mad one and overdo it, I don't think no one will complain as long as we are seen to put the ambition and the effort into it. But if we don't, we've got no excuses. In some aspects, I think we're in the same position that Arsenal are, just in a different way. Arsenal have had excuse after excuse after excuse for 5 years now of like, we're building, processing. They've now had a title challenge. Yeah. They're now at that point where he's had all the money spent. He's got all the players out. He's got all the players in. Arteta's got everything. It's now make or break for him. I think we're at that point now, not quite in the same as them, but exactly what Stelia said. We've given every excuse now. Everything's out of the way. We've now got the stadium. We've now got a good first 11. We've now got a good manager. We've got money to spend. I mean, we had the third biggest income in sport, for God's sake, let alone just football. 100 million off selling Levy still. It's there. It's there. Go for it. But
I've kept this statistic up. 28 teams who have accumulated 20 points or more after 8 games. 11 have gone on to lift the title. Teams who have previously reached 20 points at this juncture, 93% have achieved the top 4 finish. So if you want a stat, that's a stat, and it answers the question perfectly, quite frankly. What I want to say He better keep this going, JJ. WTP. Well said, Stel. For Levy, it's now or never. Last chance saloon. Do you know when I heard this? I heard this when we employed Conte. If Conte can't do it, if he doesn't back Conte, Levy needs to go. I'm going to protest and Levy needs to go. Whatever happens, I'm going to be Levy out. I heard this, and everyone should remember this. If you're a Spurs fan, you all heard this. This is last chance saloon for Levy. Conte, this is last chance. He is a proven manager. If he doesn't support him, and if we don't do well under Conte, then I'm done with Levy. It's not done. It's not done with Levy. I don't trust the fan base. I do not trust the fan base. I trust what we need to do, and we all know we need to improve in January. We need centre backs. We need 4 players really. We need at least a centre back. Do I trust he'll do that? No, absolutely not. I do not trust Levy will go this way. There will always be an excuse not to succeed and spend more money, as far as I'm concerned.
The thing is, though, right? My argument with all the fans is going to be this, because you got to kind of meet them on some kind of playing field that they're prepared to battle you, right? My argument is going to be, if we lose the league title, right? If we go and buy 3 good players in January and we lose the league title because Man City are just better than us, they're just better drilled, better footballers.
Fair play.
Yeah, if Arsenal, let's say hypothetically, Arsenal beat us to the league title because they're 4 years down the line in their process and they've built up a squad to get to this stage, fair play. But if we are in a position of being in a title race and we don't back the manager and we end up falling short because of, we're doing well as it is, keep it going, then, mate, that is inexcusable. If we are the reason we fail, that is fucked. If it's the opposition being just better than us, I can accept that. I can accept when the opposition is better because I'm used to that.
Because
but if
what it is.
Mate, it's like you put in the hours at work. You make all the sales calls, you follow up, you get deals done, but you don't win Salesman of the Year because someone just did a bit better than you. It's like, well, fair enough, man. I was up against a fucking amazing opponent. But if you don't put in the hours and you don't make those phone calls and then you come third, it's on you. It's your fault.
Yeah.
So I don't want this season, because this is the thing with football. Greece won the Euros in 2004, right? I went there and I followed them. My parents come from Cyprus. They've got Greek blood. Never in a million years did I think I'd ever see Greece win anything in their life, right? They're just not that football team. But sometimes something happens and you just got to give it a go. And they stuck to the plan and they never broke the plan. Defensive, boring, set piece, headers, 1-0, and they won a European trophy, right?
Look at Leicester. Leicester done it for 38 games.
Leicester, out of nowhere, got themselves into the title race, and they just got their heads down. They focused. Right. This last year, the same thing happened to Arsenal, and they got to this January, and they didn't go and buy a fucking striker. If they bought a striker, I think it would have been different for them. They didn't do it. They made this story up that they're going to go and get Vlahovic, blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. You didn't, and they said we're saving it for the summer. We didn't buy a striker this summer either. If Spurs get to January and we are in that Greece position, that Arsenal position, the position Harry Redknapp had us in a couple of years ago when we needed 2 players, he only wanted was 2, and we don't do it this time.
He got Louis Sahar.
2 veterans, right? If you don't do it this time, assuming this opportunity presents itself, because in football, like in life, man, like I was saying to my mate earlier on, I said, you go clubbing, let's say, when you're younger, you go clubbing all the time. All right. You never really meet any fit chicks.
We need Jacob. We need Jacob for this. Anyway.
And then one night, turns out this really hot girl likes you. Like, oh my God. And she's into you. Are you going to say, no, I'm not quite ready yet. I need to go gym a bit more. Do you know, I ain't got enough money to take you out. No, you take the opportunity. You're not expecting it. Seize the moment. You're right, you pounce. If that opportunity comes our way this season, if you don't pounce, why are you in the sport? What are we in this for?
Yeah,
right?
I can answer you the question. I can answer you the question why Levy's in this sport. I can answer you the question. We know why he's in the sport.
Our fans, Tommy, our fans. What are the fans in this for?
Look, one thing I really don't like about Spurs fans in general is one thing, as I'll say about 80%, I'd say, are not ruthless. They're not. Because I had so many debates on here before the season started with people saying, yeah, but give Ndombele another go. If Ange says give him another go, we got to give him a go. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if Ange would have come in and said give Ndombele a go, then he ain't done his bloody homework before he came to the club. Then I'd have already been sceptical of the man, yeah? And people were saying, yeah, but Dyer might come good. Yeah, but Lo Celso, he can come good. And this can come good. And I'm arguing with them all the time. But they've been with us 4 or 5 years and they've been absolute shit. Get rid of them. No. They might come good. Like people still arguing here and now. Oh, yeah, but Richarlison, he does a bit of this and he does a bit of that. The man tries. He tries. Let's give him a chance. No. Fuck off. Go away. Get rid of him. We are not ruthless enough at all. And then when you get people like us three sitting here and maybe 1 or 2 others I can name, we're negative. We're what, the league gunners of Spurs or whatever else I've been called and stuff like that. No, it's being realistic. We are not ruthless as a fan base.
Yeah, but my question would be like, look, at the end of the day, these are all hypotheticals, right? We don't know what's going to happen in January. Maybe Levy surprises us. Maybe we're out of the race. It doesn't even matter. Maybe we're like 6. We've lost 4 in a row. Who knows, right? Son's injured for the season. We're fucked, right? Who knows? But let's say we are and we don't back him. My question will be to fans, what do you want? Like, why do you support Tottenham? What is it you're here for?
You just want attacking football. That's what people.
Okay, well then you've got what you want, right? You're forever going to be happy.
I'm just describing the Spurs fan base, how I see it.
Yeah, but Tommy, when we don't get top 4, when we don't get top 4 and we don't win trophies because it all fizzles out, they will start moaning. Everyone starts moaning and complaining. So there has to be more to it than just that. My question is...
But then if you win 2 games, it changes with this fan base. It's so fickle. You win 2 games and everyone's on board. You're going to win the league. You're going to be playing great football. Everyone's got a song.
That's what I mean.
Got a song. All the coaches have got a song. You know,
there is no ruthless in Spurs. There isn't.
That's why.
It's like they're like drama. It's like they want drama. I mean, do you know what? If you want your drama that much, piss off and watch EastEnders.
The problem is we've progressed as a club, facilities, training pit since Levy's been there. We progressed up the table as well because we were 10th or 11th. We got into the Europa League, then Champions League. But that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest issue. We progressed to such a degree. Fair enough. But then regression. The regression hit. And we've been regressing ever since. Title races with the teams we've just been talking about. Leicester. Big regression. And that is unacceptable. If I'm Wickham in League 2, I know I'm not going to win trophies. We know we're not going to win trophies, right? But if you have the opportunity to win trophies and you don't take it, but
this is why. Yeah, but Tommy, this is why
that's sacrilege. That's the problem.
It is sacrilege, but this is why January has to be the moment. Because if he doesn't do it in January, these fans aren't going to be allowed to just sit there for the next 5 months. Because I'm going to give them hell. I'm going to go apeshit across social media like never before. Forget.
Mate, I will join you. I will join you happily.
Duke Nukem. Dan, I think they will be back down as well. They will probably be back down as well.
We will rally together, all the YouTubers and podcasters that are on board, and we will cause havoc. They're not going to be allowed to just sit there and watch nice football. There has to be more to it than just, it's good to be in a top 4 race. Fuck that. We've had that for 10 years.
In a perfect world, Stel, I
pay the highest prices in football. I pay the highest price in football.
Stel, you've been to all the protests. I've been to 3 or 4. The turnout shocking. It's been shocking, quite frankly. Some of it's been better. Some of it's been better than other parts. Some of it has been better than other times. But I just don't see the fan base.
Tommy, put this comment up from Sean Butler. 100%, Sean. 100%. I will back the signings if Ange wants them.
Yeah,
because we've seen in the summer the kind of signings that have been made and how they've come good. So if we get more of that, I will 100% back it. But mainly because Ange Postecoglou sat next to Levy, sat next to Paratici in a fan forum and said, "I have the final say."
I want
because he said that, it's on him now. There's no cryptic. When Conte said Spencer's a club signing, we didn't know. Whereas Ange has made it clear, it's on me. So if we get 3 signings in January and Ange wants them, and we can mount a title charge, there's no way I'll say a bad word about Daniel Levy this year.
That is exactly what I said. That's what I said.
My lips will be sealed. Yeah.
If they cost 15 million or 100 million, I don't care. As long as Ange wants them, even if I don't like the player, I will back it all the way. If the player starts playing like Richarlison, that's on Ange's head, and he'll get.
It's on Ange's head, correct?
Along with,
I think we can trust Ange as well.
players.
I think we can trust Ange's judgment to a certain degree.
There's one caveat. There's one caveat, Tommy. There's one caveat. If these signings are for the future, fuck that, because we've got Veliz and we've got Phillips there, who are part of what is clearly a future plan. If we're in a title race in January, I want players.
Especially if we're in a title race.
Now, I want a Maddison that comes in. I want a Van der Ven that comes in. Even a Johnson, because Johnson does start for us when he's fit. I'm happy with that. What I don't want is Ashley Phillips, 18. Veliz, 19. I don't want these young players for the future. We've got plenty of them. We've got an academy full of them. Bring in players that can mount a title charge. And I'm fully on board, man. I'm fully on board.
And I trust Ange's judgment in the brief time he's been here. The biggest plus I can give Ange is dropping Dyer completely. Dropping Dyer completely, that's bonus points as far as I'm concerned. Højbjerg is an easy man to start. Very easy man to start because he's a leader on the pitch, this, that, and the other. We dropped him for Sarr. So I trust Ange's judgment. So absolutely, we've got to support the manager. But I disagree with to a certain degree still. We shouldn't just be going big because we're in a title race. We should be going big because it's January and we need better players regardless of where we are. But more so by that upper echelon of quality if we are in a title. If we are in a title.
Let's be honest.
I just like this comment. Hang on. I just like this comment. Levy would cockerel block you. Yeah.
Listen,
sorry, I just thought that was a good thing.
If Levy cockerel blocks me in January, I'm telling you, I will be the most toxic YouTuber in the game. You have no idea what's going through my head. I'm patiently being optimistic. Come January, we will see what this chairman is really about. And the 5 years of excuses about COVID and stadium build and mistakes of signing the wrong manager and money has been spent. All of that will come to fruition in January. We will see what this club's really about, assuming we're in that race. Assuming we're still in the race.
Right, so I still haven't said how I feel in terms of this question. 23 points after 9 games, would you be pissed if you don't make top 4? So I'm just going to give my view to start with. Look, I'm negative, apparently, or pessimistic, if you don't want to go to that area. I prefer less reactionary these days as a Spurs fan.
Realistic.
I'm not getting carried away, but it's a lot of points. 23 points after 9 games is a lot of points.
So far, so good.
And I would honestly, even at this stage, early stage, I would be disappointed if you don't get top 4 now. I have to say, I would be disappointed. I also have to say, looking at the transfer window in the summer, I was very surprised by how poor some of the team's business around us was. Chelsea, without a striker. Man United, Højlund, poor goalkeeper. They didn't get a centre back in either. They've got to play Johnny Evans and Maguire every week now. The teams around us, I don't think, invested properly. So the January window is key for us, but it's also key for the teams around us. We need to improve because I think the teams around us, there's going to be big signings made, big strikers going to Arsenal, going to Chelsea. So we've got a lot to compete with this January. And if we are there, if we're in the top 3, 2-3 points away from the lead, who knows? Could be a title race. Who knows? I think we'll be around 4th.
Why can't we do Ivan Toney? Why can't we do it? We got Maddison.
Madison, he's 27, 28 years old, and I think he's got a year left of his contract after this season. How much do you think it'll cost?
We've got the money.
It was third highest goal scorer last season. How much do you think Brentford want for him?
We've got the money, though. We've got the money.
How much do you think Brentford want for him?
God knows. 1 year left on his Harry Kane had 1 year left on his contract, and he went for 100 million. But that's Harry Kane. So Ivan Toney's probably 60, 70 mil.
Yeah, he'll have a year left. This coming summer.
60, 70 mil.
Do you think he'll pay that for 28-year-old?
He paid 65 for Richarlison.
It was 23. He's got sell-on value.
But he's awful. He's awful, Richarlison.
And he wasn't even nothing good before we got him. Now, look, I've got an answer for this one, yeah? Which 2 people have said. Like, we need to get rid of 3 players out, though. For me, That's easy, yeah? That's an easy job. Because if we can't get any money for these players, they're just going to hang on till the end of the season anyway, and we're going to have to pay their whole bloody contract anyway. So do you know what? If it looks like we can't get rid of them, bollocks.
And we did do it with a couple of players, didn't we? We done it with Dyer,
yeah,
we done it
but
with
what I'm
Aurier.
saying is, if we can't sell them, they're going to be there till the end anyway, and we're going to have to pay full wages anyway. So do you know what? Pay their wages off, get rid of them. So you're gone, and then we got the space. Or if they refuse to go and refuse to accept the money to disappear, stick them in the bin, because we're still going to have to pay their wages anyway. So I think we can get rid of 3 players very easily with 6 months left on their contract.
In January, you can submit a new squad list after the transfer window. So you could potentially not blackmail, but manage players out by saying to them, look, we have no intention of playing you. You have no place at this club anymore. In a polite way, we'd like you to leave. We're happy for you to pick any club you want. We're prepared to take a slightly lower fee if need be to facilitate the transfer. However, if you stay here, we're not going to put you in the squad because the new players coming in are going to take your place. It's up to you. If you want to carry on playing football, leave now. We'll work with your agent. If you do want to play football and you're going to stay here and that's not going to happen, you won't even be in the squad. That's how you do it. Manage them out. Because if they've only got you right, Dan, if they've only got 5-6 months left on the contract, we've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. So if we can't get nothing for them, kick them out. If they
we have done it. So we have done it with Aurier. We've done it with Dele Alli, as I said. So I think we do. I think we need to go
there. We did it with.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't sell Doherty, we fucked up. We had to mutually agree to tear up his contract with Atletico Madrid because we didn't even know the quota.
But the point is, they can do it. And a player can't turn that down. I know there's a contract, but if you give them the full money for the contract and blow them out, they haven't got a say in the matter.
Yeah, you can pay off a contract.
Off.
That's what Arsenal did with Ozil. Arsenal did that with Ozil.
So if we can't sell them, and I very much doubt we would sell Eric Dyer and that, because I don't even feel Arabs will come in for him or anything, stuff it. Pay the contract off, get rid of them. We're not going to play you anyway. So just get rid of them. They're out the scene, and then we can focus on what we want to bring in. So getting rid of 3 players that have got 6 months on their contract, I don't think is a hard thing to do.
The problem we've got is over the next 2-3 years, I'm sure in Ange's head, he's thinking, right, Richarlison won't be here because I don't want you. Dyer, you won't be here. Ben Davies, Cess. He knows who needs to go, right? You can tell he knows. The way we play football, he knows what's what. It's clear to me he knows. The problem is, I don't even think Ange thought we'd be in this situation after 9 games in his first season. So where this project is maybe 3-4 years long, somehow we've leapfrogged forward and we're in a position now where it's, okay, do we just don't worry about this season, just keep going along and it's a 3-year process? Or do we say, shit, an opportunity's arisen here. We could do something special. We got to go for it in Jan. Because that means then deviating off the project. But what do you do when an opportunity like this? It's like you've got this great job lined up. You've just started a business with your mate, okay? You both started a company together. And the plan is we're going to build it up over 3 years. And at this point, when we get to 3 years, we're either going to sell it for loads of money or we'll be at a stage where we can attract huge contracts. And that's going to be the money-making moment. But then 3 months into the project, someone comes along and says, guys, I can make this better for you. Team up with me. And an opportunity you never saw coming in a million years comes along. And now you're thinking, do we stick to the plan? Or do we go with this guy where something bigger can happen now? And that's the situation we're in. What do you do?
I'll give you a perfect example here.
What do you do?
What you've said. I'll give you the perfect example. Now, the first show I ever went on was Sabbath show. And we were talking about things in general, and Jamie Maddison got brought up. Now, that's one he totally agreed with me on what I said. Others didn't, but they saw the point in the end. Because everyone was saying, we need centre-backs. And I 100% agreed. But I said, forget the centre-backs. Don't worry about the centre-backs. Go for Maddison. He's on the market. He's the chance. Get him. Forget the centre-backs. Go for them after. Maddison is there and then. Take him. It's like when you go shopping to get yourself a nice pair of jeans or something. And all of a sudden, you see a jumper that was 200 quid and it's now 50 quid. You snap it up and you'll go get the jeans the following time you get paid. because you've got that chance. And Maddison, it wasn't. We was looking for defenders, but we done it because he was on the market. Maddison was there. Go get him. When you got a chance, you got to take it. If you don't, you might not get that chance again.
Dan, I was watching a show last night after the Fulham win. It was a Football Terrace, and they had 8 Spurs fans on, right? And it was a full-blown argument for an hour. They were arguing.
Was Alex there? Was Alex there?
No, Alex wasn't there. Right? Half of them. No, I'll tell you what it was. It was quite interesting. You had a younger crowd, 16, 18, 22-year-olds. Then you had an older crowd, 40, 45, 50-year-olds, right? The younger crowd, we're going to win the league. We can do it. This is our time. And the older crowd is saying, humble yourselves, kids, right? We know what Levy's like. If you think he's going to fucking back at Ange, you're and then they had this full-blown 1 hour row. Just imagine, we're top of the league. We've broken the record. We're playing good football. We've just beaten Fulham. So it's all positive. And there's a full-blown row on another channel about Levy. It came back to him. And you're listening to this row. And for me, I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm stuck in the middle because I totally agree with the older lot. I'm 100% on board with you. But the younger crowd have got a point. It has to change sometime. Why can't we be optimistic? I'm like, they're right. They're right. I agree with you. But how do you know that? Which is why January for me is going to it's going to show us everything for me now.
Yes, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. But the problem is when you've been a Spurs supporter, I'm 42 now, so 37 years. You can't help but look over your shoulder even when things are going shiny, even when everything's going cushy. Not a problem in the world.
We're conditioned.
You're still looking over your shoulder of what's going to go wrong next. Why? Because it's Spurs. Call it negative. Bollocks. It's being a realist when you've been a Spurs supporter too long.
But the more you win games and stay unbeaten, it comes into your head, that little devil in your head saying, maybe, this is the time. Maybe.
That's why January.
Look, do you know what?
We'll see what Levy
thinks. If it was the last game of the season and we were 4 points clear, for some reason, I'd still look over my shoulder for something that could go wrong with Spurs. You can't help it.
Right,
I'll tell you what,
from Jacob Farrow. I've got to get. He had this on for quite a while, so we need a left winger, not a striker. So I'm guessing that's in terms of the Ivan Toney talk. Thanks for the super chat, Jacob.
I disagree.
It's a good point because if we sign Son, if we sign a striker, then Son would go back to left wing, I'd assume. I
think we need a versatile player that can play across the front three. One player that can do that is Victor Orban. But the problem with Orban is he's not had a good season this year. But I don't know whether that's because
that's from the Belgium league. Is that the sort of player
Tommy,
but if it's who Ange wants, I'm happy.
I'm not saying him. Listen, if there's 3 players I would sign, and I'll tell you who I'd sign, right? I would sign that Tapsoba. I would bring in Tapsoba. We wanted him in the summer. Bring him in. That would be good cover. There's a player who plays for Mönchengladbach called Mane Konku. Or Kone centre mid. He's very good. He's very good. He's Basuma 2.0. Right?
He's going to be the next big centre mid in Europe. People
100% bring him in, right? Will. I'm not going to make out that I spotted him. Will was the one that pointed him out to me, and I watched him. I've watched quite a few videos of him now. He's wicked.
Everyone's talking about him. He's the next big centre mid in Europe.
He's superb. And the other one is
so I can't.
And the other one is I would go and get that Jota that he had at Celtic. I would go and get him. He would come to us. He's within our price range, and he knows Ange, and Ange knows him, and he scores goals and he creates. Jota, Onu. If we did something like that, doesn't have to be exactly what I said. If we did something like that.
But still, I'm interested. Why you think we need a centre mid? I'm interested to why we need a centre mid.
Because you saw yesterday, as soon as Maddison went off, we were fucked.
Kone's not Cam though, is he? Kone's a defensive mid.
But all the chances Fulham created, most of them happened as soon as Skip and Højbjerg were the midfield. Chances galore quite a few chances were being created against us. We need when Basuma's out, fine. In comes Bentancur when he's fit. But if two of them out, or two are suspended, the way we play Tottenham, the midfield is the most important part of our team. It's the engine room. It makes us tick. It wins possession. It creates attacks. We don't attack a lot down the wings. The midfield get it and they ping it out wide when we go wide. And we have a lot of midfielders that our midfielders will make runs into the box as well. We need to strengthen that midfield because, honestly, for me, I like Højbjerg as a squad player, but he's not Basuma, man. He's nowhere near Basuma.
Squad player, he's fine.
Skip's not even Højbjerg at the moment.
But the problem is here still, Lo Celso is nowhere near Maddison. So for me, we need that Cam. If Maddison goes, we're half a team.
Tommy, bring in a Cam then. Cool, bring in a Cam. I don't mind. Bring in a Cam. Whatever.
That's what we need more than anything. Centre back and a Cam, probably two.
Do you know what? When you put it like that, you're right. You're right. We need a Cam more than anything. Go get a striker or a wide player who scores goals, a Cam and another centre back. And I'm telling you, we can cook. I'm not saying we'll win the league because I still think City have got a better squad. I think Arsenal further down the line. But you know what? We'll fucking scare the living daylights out of them. And you never know. You just never know.
But this brings me on to my next point.
Give them a go.
And I watched it last night against Fulham. So we're going to go back to the tactical side of things. I mean, not deep tactically. But, do you see other teams fearing us now, Dan? I saw it in the Fulham game. I saw it, the way we play. I think, there's an argument for it. Already 9 games in. Do you know our team's fearing Spurs right now?
I wouldn't use the word fear yet. But I can only we all see football in two different eyes, yeah? I personally look at the way we play, and even I'm a bit confused by the way we play. Just some of the positions that some of the players get themselves into, you're like, what are you even doing there? And then on the next move of basically the same way, it's a total different right back or left back or whatever we got up there, or centre back or whatever. It's actually quite confusing. And you're sitting there thinking, what are you actually doing up there? And then next time, Romero's up there or whatever else. And I think that's going to be quite, I wouldn't say intimidating, or I wouldn't say scary or fearful, but it's going to be quite, it's going to be hard to suss us out totally. Whereas other clubs, like what started happening with Arsenal at the end, even though they was extremely good, you started sussing them out of what they was all about in every way. I think we're actually going to be quite a hard team to actually suss out totally, because he plays it in quite a confusing way that I look at it, and all this Ange ball stuff, I'm thinking, does anybody actually understand Ange ball? Because I'm looking at it, I get it, but I don't. But I'm not complaining about it. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Dan, it's simple. He's given them freedom to move on that field depending on how they read the game. So if Romero feels I can travel with the ball, then travel, son. Travel with it. If Maddison feels he needs to drop deeper or shift out wide to be more involved in the play, fine. And you see them communicate on the pitch. A player will say, look, I'm going to try it there for 10 minutes. Can you push up and cover there? And you'll see an Udogie or you'll see a Porro almost playing as the cam. Because he's given them that freedom to adapt in the game. And listen, the best coaches do this. 50%, they let the players figure it out and do what they feel is going on in the game. Because they're the ones playing it, not the manager. The player feels the game. The manager just observes it. So you've got to give your players freedom to express themselves in that game.
I agree.
They practice the skills. They practice the passing, the shooting, all the technical, they practice that. Right, now, go and put it into real play. Use your own brain to make decisions. But 50% has to be non-negotiable. And what that means is this, and this, you don't do it anyway, but my way. And if you don't do it my way, you're getting hooked. And that's how you do it. That's how you get the players by. You can do that, but do this for me. And then we can work together. And you can tell. And I think Maddison mentioned it last night where he mentioned non-negotiables. He said, the one thing we're not allowed to do is to stop pressing. If we stop pressing, he gives us the bollocking and a half. He's on our backs. He's screaming at us. So as long as you press and as long as you continue, and I'll tell you another non-negotiable, he doesn't let them hoof it out. You must play it out from the back. And they practice it. I see us. that Richarlison missed, he hit it wide. We played it out from the back. These are non-negotiables. And that's why you find players here, there. And you're right, Dan. You're right. If you're, let's say, Saliba, and all week you've been doing drills and practicing, right, I'm going to be up against Maddison, I'm going to be up against Son. And then suddenly you see Romero coming at you. You see Porro coming at you. You're thinking, 1 minute.
What?
This wasn't in the practice. And you're right. It's hard to read us. You're spot on when you said that.
Yeah, I don't think
I
it's going to be.
I agree with the sort of 50% freedom, 50% tactical approach. I mean, it's different depending on the manager. It's very different depending on the manager. But I feel Ange is that. I feel Ange is a Alex Ferguson type motivator, but he still does have he still has traits that he wants to identify, and one of them is lack of hoofing the ball.
He's still got the iron boot sort of thing if he wants.
But you can win stuff the other way as well, because Mourinho, Conte, Pep are very, very tactical. They're probably more tactical than they are freedom, let's say 80% the other way. So different managers have different ways of playing. That's why, all managers are different. And you've got to say, Pep, Mourinho, Conte were successful the way they did it. Ange's more in Wenger, Ferguson type manner, maybe even Klopp to a certain degree.
I'll agree with that. And the thing I do like about it is that half the time, like I said, I don't even get it myself what's going on sometimes, because I'm surprised. Like yesterday, I
think he's giving him free rein. I think he is giving.
Yeah, I know. I'm agreeing, but this is what I'm saying. I don't think clubs will fear us or be scared of us, but they're going to be sitting there confused, like who's actually coming at us. Whereas it used to be, right, take Harry Kane out, we've taken Spurs out.
Yeah.
Whereas yesterday, I'm sitting there watching it with my wife, and I'm like, even she nudged me, like, isn't he a defender? Pointing at Romero. I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, why is he there then? I'm like, because he's allowed to be there. She's like,
but I'm glad you're being honest. I'm glad you're being honest, because a lot of YouTubers, a lot of guests, a lot of fellow YouTubers, people on social media will be like, oh, this is how he's playing. That's how he's playing. Even Stell said it is a bit random. He's playing to the player's strengths.
Yeah, and I like it.
And that's how,
And like I said, I don't think it's a fear, but I think it's a confusion that it gives them, where I'd say, let's say, 17 teams out of the Premiership, you can basically, who they're going for and the main one they go for us is Maddison. I said to my missus, watch, they are going to try and take Maddison out from
Luton done it. Luton done it very well.
Yep. And Fulham tried doing it with a few dirty tackles yesterday. That is the main one they go for us. But the defenders, like you said, with Saliba or Anderson or whoever's in defence, it's not just going to be that they've got their eyes ready or they're ready for Harry Kane. All they know, they've got Romero or Van der Ven sitting there or Udogie charging through the middle and that. It's a lot harder to work out. And I must admit, I'm struggling myself to work it out, but I like it.
But that's good. If us Spurs fans can't work it out, imagine opposition. The opposition teams.
That is exactly what I'm getting at.
And that is fear. There will be fear in opposing teams. There will be fear. That's why I brought this subject up. Do other teams fear us? And I think they do. Even 9 games in, our defense pressing and keeping the high line. We saw what that achieved last night. It was the creator for both our goals. Van der Ven, really high up the pitch, intercepted. We got to go straight away. It was both Bassey's mistakes. You could say both were Bassey's mistakes, or you could say we orchestrated those mistakes with the high press and the high line. I think where they won't fear us as such is probably on the wings, Richarlison and Kulu. I don't think they'll really fear us there. It's the Maddison, it's the fullbacks behind the wingers, Porro and Udogie. We know they can smash it up there. So I think more than ever, it's the defense that the opposition team's worrying about, and it's the attacking nature of the defense, which is odd. But yeah. He's a motivator, Ange. I don't think he's tactical. I don't think he's completely tactical. I think he's definitely of a motivator.
That's the word that my wife has just made. Unpredictable. That's the word I was looking for the whole time. Unpredictable. And that is what we are at the moment.
Very much so. Very much so. And in a way, I have to say, I believe... at the same time, if we don't break through, we rely on fitness levels. So to be able to do all of this high press, high line, if we don't get an early breakthrough, like against Luton and Sheffield United, it can come back to haunt us a little bit. And that's where I feel going out of the Carabao Cup has helped us a great deal because it keeps the fitness levels high because we don't have to play 2 games in a week. I think
not being in Europe, Tommy.
It's almost
not being in Europe.
It's almost a blessing in disguise. It's almost a blessing in disguise to not have that extra game.
Imagine we were in Europe now playing Champions League or Europa Cup this week.
With the depth, we'd be fucked, wouldn't we? We'd be fucked.
We'd crash out of Europe and we'd be the table.
Okay, we're coming to the last 20 minutes of the show before we get to Muppet of the Week. A little bit of fun here. But before we do so, please make sure you smash a like. We've got 71 people watching now. I think it was a little bit quiet when the Champions League games were going on, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, like back in the day, you're supposed to support your English teams. But unfortunately, Man United and Arsenal won, especially Arsenal. We don't want them winning. So yeah, next up will be Muppet of the Week. But I want to ask this question. This is blue pill or red pill. We don't do cock from the top anymore, but we got to do something a little bit non-football related. I saw this before I came on, and I thought this is an interesting question. This is a fun question to ask the guests today and those in the comments. So a bit of Morpheus zone, bit of Matrix zone now. Blue pill.
I've already got my answer for that one, mate.
10 million in cash. Red pill. Restart your life at 6 years of age with all the knowledge you know now. Let's get this. You have now. With all the knowledge you have now.
I've got the answer for that already.
Okay. What are you saying, Dan? What are you saying, Danny boy?
There is no way I will restart my life at 6 years of age with all the knowledge I've got, because I'd be the most dry lunch bastard out there. I wouldn't have had all the, I say fun, but I wouldn't have done all the crazy things I did and enjoyed it as such. I'd have been dry lunch. I wouldn't have gone clubbing for like 10 hours a night and done silly things while I was there. I wouldn't have gone to raves. I wouldn't have gone to events. I wouldn't have certain women and whatever else and all that. I'd just have no fun in my life because I'd just be dry lunch, because I'd just know where it goes at the end of it, or you're just a lot wiser on the repercussions. So for me, it's a no-go, because I think a lot of people would just have a very dry lunch life, and you'd probably end up having no friends as well. So for me, give me the 10 million cash all day long, and I'll keep
deep, you know. That's quite deep.
It's an honest answer. That's the answer for me. You would be. Think about it.
I was going to give my view first, but you're straight in there, Dan. You didn't need time to think about that. I'm taking the 10 million.
I've already had this question asked, mate, and think about it. Legit. Anyone who's got half common sense on them, I know you're going to get the ones out there who just ain't got it, but when you know the repercussions of things and you've actually got half a brain on you, you go back to a young age, you ain't going to have no fun in your life whatsoever.
That's true.
At all. You are going to have no fun whatsoever. And you will be the most dry lunch bastard out there, and you will have no friends. It would just be dry lunch. I know everyone hasn't lived the same life. I've done some mad things in my time that I can sit here and just say, stupid, stupid, stupid. But you know what? I can also sit back and say, I had fun. When you got that brain on you, when you're legit half savvy as such, whatever you want to put it, you ain't going to do that stuff. You ain't going to do that crazy shit. You're just going to, you would be dry lunch, mate. So give me 10 million all day long.
Still, it seems like the common take in the chat is blue pill. Dan said blue pill. What are you having? What pill are you taking?
I'm stuck. Part of me just says take the 10 mil because it's now, you know what you're getting. Just go live the rest of your life and enjoy it to the max. The other half of me says, if I could go back with what I know now, I could take down Levy before he gets his hands on Spurs.
I had a feeling Levy would get into it. I thought he'd come into it.
I could maybe save Tottenham from the fucking disaster that was Levy. Also, I don't know, man. Like,
well, you could make a lot of bets and you'd have over 10 million anyway, but still your life would be dry lunch.
Yeah. Be like Back to the Future too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know, the thing is, I think it comes down to, have you got regrets, right? Some people say, no regrets. Like, I've got regrets. I do have regrets, and I would go back and not do them, but then maybe you create new ones.
Supporting Spurs in the first place could be that. You could support someone else.
But then, do I want to go back and live from 6 onwards in this world of social media? Fuck that.
No,
Life
mate.
on phones and social media was brilliant.
Look,
I'll take the 10 mil. I'll take the money.
The way it was when I was younger, yeah, you had that meeting point, yeah. We all had to meet down this place. Like, this is up until like 14, 15, before we started going clubbing, whatever, and that. You all had this meeting point, and you all had to meet there at a certain time. And if you weren't there, you then had to go hunting, because you didn't have the phone to ring everybody. Like, where are you? And that you had to then go hunting for everybody or whatever. That was the way it was. Even down to the point where you had problems. Your mates would listen to you say it twice, and the third time they'd say, "Grow up, head, deal with it." And you had to deal with things. Whatever. It's just times were different. Make ourselves sound really old now, but again, it would just be so dry lunch with having an adult brain through being a teenager and that.
You know what, Dan? All my younger cousins, when I speak to them, I struggle. Like they're so boring. Like, they're boring.
It's protected. A lot of them are very, very protected. There are very few streetwise people now.
Look, most of them, when they try and
they live on this.
exactly what I was about to say. When they try, when you've got a
talk.
16-year-old try and pull a bird and that or whatever, and that he's chatting her up off some bloody website, he's never even met it. The phone call, the picture he's got off her is fake as anything, and they're sitting there like talking for hours on end, and then meet each other, and they're like start talking to each other through the bloody phone again.
Do you know why being young was fun? Because you didn't.
It was
know,
erratic.
Well, you didn't know what that would do to your future.
Yeah,
it was all innocent. Now,
and having no money is actually good. Having no money was good. No money, no problems. Huh?
But but if you were to go back knowing what you know now, Dan, do you know what? Dan's right. You'd be so dry.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it'd be unbelievable.
Bored out of your head.
God, look, even when
did any of you go on a holiday where you jumped off a high rock into the sea below and you don't know what's down a bit? Everyone was doing it, so you did it as well. Have you ever done that? Or right?
Yeah.
There is no way in a fucking million years I will do that again. No chance am I doing that again. Right?
But
so if I was to go back and sit, right, mate, the chances of getting a major life-changing injury are high. So if I was to go back now, knowing how dangerous that is at 6.
I'm not talking about. I've done that once when I was like 17 in Ibiza, and I couldn't swim, and it was on a naked island thing. So, yeah, I would. I definitely regret that. I definitely regret that.
That's what I mean, though. But it's funny. You look back.
Would I go Malia now for 2 weeks and go on a constant piss for 2 weeks, getting on anything and everything that moved and everything else and that now? Knowing the risks of STIs and everything else, no, I would not.
I would take
not a chance.
I would take.
Now I've got morals, I've got standards. Whereas back then, I just did not care, and that was the fun in life. I can sit here and say I had fun as a teenager.
I'll take the red pill. I'll take the red pill for one reason and one reason only. I miss playing sport. I miss playing football. I miss playing tennis. That's the big one for me. It's not just about the money. I miss those days, Saturdays. 7-8 hours messing about with my mates playing World Cup Willie or whatever, jumpers for goalposts, and on Sunday we'd play in a team. I miss those days. Summer.
Yeah, but you can't do that now.
No,
you can't do that now, Tommy. You get stabbed. You go to the park now, you're getting stabbed.
No, but you're going back to when you're 6 years old.
But Tom, you wouldn't start playing football like that. When they start playing, you'd probably sit there and start managing them and that. No. You're meant to do this. You're meant to do that. You would not get stuck in like you would back then and take the boys' kneecaps out and get up.
No, man, no. I want to start playing now.
You can't do that.
You'd be telling all the kids, no, 2 at the back, 2 out wide. We're going with a holding mid. You'd be saying things like pivot, double pivot. What?
Yeah. And you make sure you do the inverted.
Low block.
You've got to go inverted. Yeah. Keep your hands behind your back and everything.
Low block, which is basically pressing. Low block, which is basically pressing. By the way, high press. But no, I'd take it. I'd have to take it. I mean, you'd invest in Facebook. You'd invest in Bitcoin when it first come out, and then you'd make well over £10 million. I'd take it. I'd take it all day
Oh,
long.
Bitcoin and that was easy to suss out when it came out, but forget that one.
Yeah, but who's to say? All right,
mate,
Tommy.
I had
Who's
too much
to say?
fun.
Who's to say you will be alive as an adult to enjoy that money? Because now you're an adult if you get 10 million.
Eh?
If you go back to when you're 6, you're going to
Right.
have to wait until you're an adult to enjoy life and money. But who's to
Yeah.
say that you will survive until until an adult if you go back? Whereas now,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You're guaranteed. You're guaranteed.
And because back in the day, you're happy with £5 pocket money a week. When you're used to spending money, you sort of need that money now. You sort of need you need the big money, and then you're not.
But when you're 6 years old with the brain you got now, are you really going to sit there and say yes, mum, when she says go to bed at 6 o'clock because you've got school tomorrow? No, you ain't. And then you're going to probably end up with a black eye or saying the way it used to be. Because I know if I'd have said that, I'd have got my front tooth punched out. It just would not work. I just can't see how it would work for anybody because you're in the wrong generation. You got too much. You just have too much knowledge. You'd have no fun in your life whatsoever.
Unless I could go back and tell Gary Mabbott, don't dive for that header in the 87 Cup final. Tell Sissoko in the Champions League final, don't fucking put your hand out. Just do that, all right? And maybe that'll change the course of time for Spurs.
Right. Okay.
10 million.
Let's
10
get
million all
to
day,
the week. Big up, Bryce. Do you know what I was going to say about Bryce? Because Bryce puts this, Tommy will go back being 6 and take out Eric Dyer. He knows I hate Eric Dyer. I was like, do you know what? Bryce hasn't mentioned dogs tonight. That's fair. He's like one of the only ones that still goes on about it. But yeah.
Dan,
you don't know what that's about, Dan. Dan, you don't know what that's about. You don't need to know what that's about. Big up Daryl as well. I don't see Daryl.
You're going to have to tell me after, because if you don't, Stell's going to tell me after.
I'll
so you're going to have to tell me after.
And this is go back and take your parents to the bookies. Imagine predicting all the results that happen over the years.
all cushy and everything. And
billionaire. You'd be a billionaire.
Back to the Future too. That's what happened in Back to the Future too.
Yeah, but mate, I had too much fun in my life as a teenager, as a kid, doing some extremely wrong stuff. And
that's why I want to go back and enjoy it again.
But you wouldn't. Are you telling me? Are you telling me
because you know what you know now?
You've got now? Yeah. Tell me this honestly. Yeah. Now I'm going to make myself. I'm just going to say it how it is. Yeah.
Yes, but Dan, you've already got that knowledge. But Dan, you've already got that knowledge.
Yeah, but look,
you've had that childhood. You've had that childhood.
But when you've got that knowledge and you've got the chance to live it again and everything, are you telling me you're really going to go up London somewhere like Camden Palace and pop 10 in the night and go home not knowing how to getting on the fucking train and that? Yeah, you ain't going to do it. I had too much fun, mate. Just not giving a shit and not having the knowledge.
It's true. You're not going to down snake bites and mix all your drinks and bottles of whiskey. You're not going to do it
with what? A couple of California sunrises and Mitsubishis or whatever.
You ain't doing any of it.
It was too much fun, man. It was too much fun. I know some people had a clean and straight life. I didn't, and too much fun. I got too many good stories.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun too. I've got to say, I lived on a council estate, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
It's the same. But then I've sat next to people who've had a very, very good upbringing.
I lived on a council estate. There's about 80 people my age. There's about 80 people my age within
And they can't give me more than 2 stories of what they've done as a teenager. Yeah, I could write you a bloody book and then probably do an extra on it. And it was too much fun. And you ain't going to do that shit when you got an adult brain. If you
people won't have a clue what we're talking about if they've just tuned in. There's a few people that have just tuned in. I don't have a fucking clue what we're talking about. But we are coming to the end of the show. We always try and hit that 2-hour point. It went crazy long last week because we were just talking about stats. But we are on the final segment of the show today. As always on a Tuesday night, it is Muppet of the Week. Let's get the nominees up. I'm going to add a new segment next week. It's going to be Unpopular Opinion of the Week. Because I seem to have a lot of unpopular ones, and I see a lot of unpopular ones. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that next week. But for now, it's just Muppet of the Week. Right. If you haven't seen it before, basically these are the nominees: Pochettino, Levy, Ben White, the albino Oompa Loompa. And and basically, the guests can choose one of these nominees, or they can have one of their own. So Poch, pretty straightforward, 2-0 up. Chelsea were 2-0 up against the Scum. Looked comfortable, looked very comfortable. They were going to take the 3 points. Ended up drawing 2-2. I watched the game in full, and subs were shocking. You could say he was guilty of that, Spurs as well, to be fair. But his subs were shocking. They are improving all the time, but they definitely missed a trick, and Poch missed a trick against Arsenal. Levy, he's actually been out of the news the last few weeks. Little bit like, I don't know, Harry and Meghan. I think they were advised just get out of the news for a bit because you're not coming across very well. And it seems like Levy he's took a step back, but he will always be here and part of Muppet of the Week. Finally, Ben White, back to the Chelsea and Arsenal game. I mean, he is a fashion disaster. I've always wanted him on Muppet of the Week. He's actually a very good player and adapted well at fullback from centre back. But I
think he's a better fullback than defender.
You could say that, exactly. You could say that.
I
can't stand him. And apparently, everyone knows he doesn't watch football.
He don't like football.
People.
He's just good at it.
I cannot stand people that don't watch football or don't enjoy football. I know it's just a pet hate. But it's that fake tan and dyed hair. Muppet of the Week, he's got to be the fake tan and the dyed hair. Come on, man. Come on. He deserves a place. He deserves a place this week.
But he ain't number one.
Muppet of the Week? Any of these?
Well, Levy, you can't really say a bad word about him at the moment, only the past. So he comes out of it for about the 3rd or 4th week running. Pochettino, he screwed that. I mean, that haircut is just dangerous. But for me, Muppet of the Week goes to Richarlison. I mean, the way he put that ball over the bloody net and even tried to control the ball with the back of his right shoulder, if I remember right, he's Muppet of the Week for me. So for this week, it goes with Richarlison, and I'll leave the Scousers out.
Richarlison? I don't think you've had Richarlison in any other week, Dan. I
No.
thought if you're going to have Richarlison, you would have had him in a Luton game, surely.
No. This one, mate. I think the one that done it for me was the way he tried to control the ball with the back. It's coming down to him, and all of a sudden he goes like that and tries to control it with the back of his right shoulder. Or the one that he put 20 yards over the bloody bar and what. For me, Richarlison. That haircut is dangerous.
Right.
It should be illegal.
Stelios.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these?
No. Muppet of the Week. It's got to be the Chelsea goalkeeper, man. Like,
Sanchez. Yeah, Sanchez.
Dude, you're 2-0 up. You're in cruise control. Arsenal have been shat on. The meltdown's incoming. It's going to be epic scenes across social media. 15 minutes to go, and you fucking pass the ball to Declan Rice, and you're off your line. It's just, what a dick! Dick. You completely fucked it.
Yeah.
Poch never told him to do that. He's a muppet.
You got to love the Chelsea goal though, where he didn't even look up and he went to cross the ball and totally screwed up the cross, but it went in the back of the net.
Yeah, and then told everyone that he went for it. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, bollocks, mate. You weren't even looking in that direction.
Yeah, that was a bad error.
He sliced it, but
so we still got someone from the Chelsea Arsenal game. We've got Ben White, Poch, and we've got Sanchez from the Chelsea Arsenal game. I thought Ray was unlucky with it. He didn't have a good game, but I thought that was just a crazy cross that you just wouldn't see him coming. You would never predict that to happen. Sanchez was all his own fault. You've got to say, though, it was still a good finish from Rice. I'm surprised he even hit that. It still was a very good finish from a centre mid.
It was. He intended to do that, so it was good.
Back to the future. Postecoglou, a Greek Australian manager, using modified Hungarian formations. Puskas ball, totally Tottenham for the future. Muppet of the Week. Daryl goes with Tommy Fury. Guy couldn't knock out. Wasn't that the week before? That was last weekend.
Couldn't knock a wank out.
That was KSI the weekend before, wasn't it? I think.
He couldn't bang one out.
N17 going back to the blue pill or red pill. Who's to say you don't get bad news from the doctor the day after you take the money?
Yeah, I'll take that risk, mate, because I ain't losing out on the life I had as a teenager.
I've got
it's safe to say there's quite a few variables with that. Going back in time in general, there's quite a few variables.
10 million. I've got 10 million pounds to spend on the issue. It's all right.
Right. That brings the show to an end. I think we're on 44 likes. We've got 57 people watching. So you certainly all haven't hit a like. If you can get us up to 50, that would be wonderful. And I've seen from the algorithms that we have 60, 70% of the people watching don't subscribe. They haven't subscribed yet. Make sure you subscribe. It's completely
Stop being
free.
Levy.
As is hitting a like makes a big difference, and you can just be you're naturally notified of future content, or you can notify yourself and be notified of pretty much everything that happens on the channel. So you don't even have to watch us; just subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And of course, subscribe to Stelios and Tottenham Away below us. We understand Mari's got a show happening tomorrow, and just tell us everything that's coming up with Tottenham Away still.
Mari's show tomorrow, Spurs Lounge. We've got North London is ours, Tottenham the Arsenal show on Thursday, and then I do a Friday show. Oh no, Friday we're doing live watch along. We're playing Palace. Fuck.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Forgot we've got a game this week. Yeah, everyone's gonna be on social media on Friday. Doesn't matter where you go.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. And I'm gonna be doing a solo show on Thursday. I always do a solo show Thursday about midday. So that'll be the next show on his channel, although Dan might have a pop-on show with a Richarlison. What do you call them? What do you call a Richarlison? What do you call somebody that favours Richarlison and sticks up for Richarlison these days?
Richie sexual. Richie sexual.
That's why I said that fella that was on your show last night. I'd love to come in on with the woman that I'm trying to push her way to get on there. And I'll have the debate with a pair of them on there. They can
enabler, Richarlison enabler. Let's call it a Richarlison enabler. Dan might have a show
or a Richie sympathiser.
yes, I like it.
Hey, quick question before we go. Very quick question because we didn't really chat about it. I know it's not your thing to chat about it on the show, but do you think we'll beat Palace?
It's a tough place to go, isn't it? Away, Selhurst Park. It's a very, very tough place to go. They're good. They've got the best centre back statistically in the league, apparently. In Anderson,
not anymore. After last night, we do.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I looked at the stats beforehand, and it showed that Anderson was still up there. It probably hasn't.
They got done 4-0. They got done 4-0 the other day. And up
I looked at the stats earlier, and it still had
dangerous.
Anderson up there. It still had Anderson up there. Romero second.
Anderson's still up there, yeah. But
Bolly third. Will Bolly third.
All right, but he's one player.
Yeah. But Eze's fantastic. Eze's
a top player. He's out.
Is he out?
Yeah.
I know Eze and Olise are out. I thought Eze was coming back. Maybe it's Olise's coming back. They're both very good players. We should
They're both out. They're both out, apparently.
Are they both out?
They haven't got a good strike force. They haven't got a good attack
They've both been out recently, so it's got to be. We should be winning that, shouldn't we? Famous last words, but we should be winning that.
2-1, 3-1. We should have that.
Do you think there'll be any changes? I'm going to go through it on Thursday. We'll go through it in depth on Thursday's show. To be fair.
Question. I know you're going to do it. Yeah, but I'm not on that show. All right. A quick question then. Basuma, if he gets one more yellow, he misses the next game. The next game after Crystal Palace is Chelsea. Do you play Basuma against Palace?
Dan wouldn't. We had this chat.
Yeah,
you've had Højbjerg there, and I think Højbjerg already proved it. I think Højbjerg proved it last night. He's more than capable of supporting us for a game or two. And against Palace, I think that would be a game right up his street because it's going to be very physical. Not the most skillful game. He is a physical player, whether anyone likes to admit it or not. He does get stuck in. I do think he's more than quality more than good enough to be a squad player. I would not take that risk for Basuma because we will need him desperately against Chelsea's midfield.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing Chelsea have got is a solid. They have got a very, very good midfield. So Basuma, leave him out. And
I don't like that method of thinking. I just don't like that. I don't like that method of thinking. It's like you're in fear, you're scared. I don't like that. I'm playing my strongest squad. If I've got the rest time after, I'm playing my strongest squad.
I'll probably tell him, play Chelsea, make sure you get a yellow card so that the next game he's out for, if I remember right, would be Wolves, and then he's definitely clear for Villa City.
He will 100% get a yellow card against Chelsea, regardless. You don't have to tell him he's going to get one.
He hasn't really played, has he, over the last few weeks either? For Spurs, he hasn't been in that midfield for Spurs. So
he hasn't played since Luton. That was like 3 weeks ago.
He got sent off in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's missed one game.
I think I would definitely play him. I don't think you can make that decision if it's before a Champions League final or something like that, and that's different. But you're talking Chelsea. I think we've got enough in the tank even without Basuma to beat
Chelsea. We've got the worst.
And that's just we're going on ifs and buts. If Basuma gets a yellow card, I think you play your strongest team, and I think it's a big diss to the rest of the centre mids. I think that's a big diss. If you're saying we're leaving Basuma out because we can't not have him for Chelsea,
do you think Poch gets booed, clapped?
That's a big one. That's why I want a ticket. Still, if you can get hold of a home ticket, I'm really.
Everyone's asked. I can't. It's freaking impossible, dude. It's freaking.
I've been lazy. I'll ask Barry. Barry's dodgy as fuck. He'll get me a Chelsea. He'll get me a Chelsea.
Barry's dodgy as fuck.
He'll get me one.
Sounds like a good fella.
Oh my god.
He'll probably make it himself. He'll probably make it himself, but I don't care.
You've just told the whole world.
As long as
that's not his real name, is it? So we're all right.
Barry Basher.
That's not his real name, so we're okay. He's got many aliases. Right. Yeah. So that wraps it up for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I think we're on exactly 50 likes. So really, really respect that. As we said, next show's Thursday. Make sure you watch Mari's on Tottenham Way tomorrow. That's always a great show. The Lounge, not the Love Lounge anymore. I'm disappointed the Love bit's gone, but it's the Lounge nonetheless, and you have to make sure you go over there.
The Spurs Lounge, he calls it the Spurs Lounge.
The Spurs Lounge. None of that copyright that you had before. I remember when I first started going over it. Music, you have Marvin Gaye, like songs in every fucking show.
Freaking Biggie Smalls intro.
Mate, I don't know how that channel lasted for as long as it did in terms of
because he wasn't monetized.
Yeah, well, I still think they have a go at you, like for copyright.
No, because you're not making money from it.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah.
So a big thank you to those at home as well. There was a super chat earlier as well. Really, really helpful. So yeah, stay safe, stay free, and stay classy, Lily Whites. Peace out.
See you later, everyone.